that's programmable. I think I talked to Fries about this too. And anything you put in it, that's why the ganses, when it collects the ganses, it holds the energy and the shapes of the ganses. If you stick a flower in it, I've seen a study from Schauberger's stuff that it actually holds that shape. Can you hear me?
All we can see is your nipples.
Oh, hold on. Let me see if I correct that. Don't be getting excited, Michael. Come on, calm down, calm down. About now. Can you see me better now?
Oh, much better. Look at that pretty face.
Hold up. Let me turn this off. My Chrome bouncing light. Anyhow, from my understanding, like you just said about the harmonics and that, if you can, once you get them in water, it's instantaneous. It holds that harmonics. It holds that shape. The snow, like a snowflake, it holds that. And this, I don't know, like this is what I've been trying to figure out. You know, I've been playing with this and see what's what.
If you can get 3 tone generators, okay, and combine the frequency of 3 hertz, 6 hertz, and 9 hertz together, okay, you'll have 3 kind of rotating energy fields, subtle energy fields. Okay, this is what's going to mind right now, guys. Hey, push record, will you, Joe? Please.
Somebody is recording. I think Fries is recording.
No, he can't.
I can't.
I don't know if this is going to do it out here. This is the old system. This thing's beat. This is like the deaf laptop that I just threw out in the lab because I can hook up to the internet. Somebody has recording on. The light's flashing.
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay.
I'm the only one recording. I don't like that there's only one recording. And it won't allow me to let Fraz to
No, my equipment isn't compatible with it. It's an Android. Yeah. One of the interesting things I just did about maybe 2 minutes ago when you were talking to Crystal is I twisted up a bimetal aluminum and copper. I mean, just a few minutes ago. And I pulled off the one that you and I made, or I made after we talked with you, that I've been sitting in the ion nano coating system that I've got going. Yeah. And the thing that happens, and I see if I can get a little bit closer with it, is the copper takes on the aluminum shine. It gets silver. The brand new copper wire, I mean, I just pulled it off the string and did the new one, and that's happened probably within the last minute and a half. The copper is taking on the aluminum. I mean, it's very quick.
Yeah, it's collecting. We just created a magnet between them. The longer you let it sit, you'll see that it gets darker in the creases. Okay. Yeah. Well, that darker in the creases, that's where all your magnetic energy is. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's being attracted to. So it's kind of like taking a subtle vacuum cleaner and having a whole bunch of black fine charcoal powder in the air. Okay?
Yep.
And you're going to see where the ports are of the vacuum, where it's sucking it in. All right, that's where it's going to stick to first. Okay, yeah. And that's where it gets darker.
One of the fun things back in, well, it was in January of this year, I told everybody that I had nano coated the entire inside of my house. And what had happened was I was running a very large mag graph. At the time, it was one of the biggest ones. There was a couple of us using 12 gauge wire and doing large mag graphs with them. And it wasn't wired up exactly right, but it was as best as I could do. And the plasma field was pretty damn strong. And I had cleaned the gas stove in the living room, and the vacuum cleaner exploded its collection bag. And I had carbon particles in the room, everywhere.
Poof.
Yeah. Now, those of you who are familiar with the powder coating for spray paint type of thing, where they
electric static.
Yeah. I've been around it. I know it when I see it. I looked at my walls, and it was stenciled. Anything that was near the wall, it was white. Behind it, everything around it was dark. And when you touch the surface, it went from a light hint of carbon to black. I mean, awful. And what had happened was that the walls of the living room were basically negatively charged,
Yep.
and the carbon particles went right to it and were standing on end. And when I put my finger on them, it laid them down flat and basically glued them permanently to the wall. Those areas are not cleanable at this time. I can reduce it, but I can't get it clean. We used a foaming agent that hit it and raised the carbon off while it was still sitting perpendicular to the wall, and was able to clean the wall that way. But we had to put in basically a surfactant and a foaming agent to get it back off the wall. Otherwise, it's painting. You never get all of it.
All right.
But,
The image that's coming to mind for me when you were describing that, okay, was like holding a magnet and having a whole bunch of iron filings that you've just released, all right, and they're just stacked up all crazy like on there. That's the image that I got when I was zoomed in to what you were talking about. Does that sound right?
Pretty close. Basically, it's actually really well organized on the microscopic level. I mean, the carbon fibers, particles basically sit away, they've got a positive and a negative charge on them, and they just sit out. And it's just like iron filings, only more organized.
Okay.
The effect, the velocity was tremendous to get that kind of an imprint, because we're talking a distance of up to 1.5 inches away from the wall, still having that stencil.
Right.
And I didn't even notice that I had released the carbon into the air. I'm right there, and it's gone. Later on, we hooked up, Allison and I made a set of cubes, the Q6s, and we plugged that one into the wall on one side of her room, and we're sitting there talking, and she's going, things seem to be cleaner in the air. And I says, well, yeah, you've set up, the electrostatic with your MagGrav, your cube here. And we looked over at the dishwasher. Of course, that's grounded to the frame, to earth ground. And it is absolutely caked with all the dust and the cat dander and everything that was in the house. It just, whoop. And she says, I can feel it going past me, because she was sitting in between the dishwasher. And it was like, it was fun. But yeah, so we're basically, you are improving the air quality inside your house when you set up these plasma fields. And it's one way of getting rid of the particulates out of the air. So those of us with asthma and stuff, hey, it's a lot better in here.
Yeah, those the negative ion like air purifiers and things like that. It's doing the same thing. Okay.
Yep.
Also, the what's coming to mind right now is the Searle effect generator. Okay. Yes. It also does the same thing. As far as there's been reports that the closer you get to the center of this unit, the colder the air gets. Okay. But you can feel when it's cold, it's actually drawing heat. Okay. So it's gravitational. Okay. You're going to feel it. When your body is cold, okay, that means that you are actually in a magnetical state, and somebody or something is drawing energy from you. Okay. That's where you get the cold, chilled, boned feeling. All right. We should be start feel, especially if we start putting the frequency in there. Okay. If we can figure out how to put one of those spiral freaking light bulbs in the center, okay, where it's got enough juice to turn it on, okay, or at least get a current running through it. It doesn't have to be ionized just yet. All right. Use that as the, oh man, my brain is just going. Use that as your center core. It's mercury. It's already in an infinity loop. Okay. Mm-hmm. The spaces between the tubes is where the magic happens. So put a nano-coated wire between it to collect that energy and direct it. And you can direct that energy into any of your GANs. The GAN waters. What's coming to mind right now is the the battery cells that they had where everything was all connected together. All right. When that wire is coming from the light bulb through that's in the spaces, a quad core or higher, spinning through the open spaces of the light bulb, and then the wire coming off like a spark gap wire, okay, connecting. You'll have a little tiny opening. That's what's coming to mind. And then, yeah, you have to have the opening. It won't work without the opening, okay? Fraz, that comes to mind for me because you said it was completely plasmatic connection, not a physical connection.
Right. That's what's the car unit that I'm working on right now. And one of the things that I had really didn't want to go into the bimetals was when we were working with AC. Not really a good thing because they have until you get the resistance and stuff correct, you get a heat problem usually, either in the iron or in the aluminum.
Usually aluminum.
Yeah, and so if we're running in DC only, you don't have that problem. You know, you can't. Yeah, AC's not. Yeah, AC just confuses things.
You know.
Yeah.
As soon as we get the car unit done, you know, the only reason why we use alternating current in there, like with you know, the power inverter, is to give automatically. It makes it simpler for the people at home, okay, to create the muscle, the give and the take, the up and the down, okay, the positive and the negative. You know, the wave. Okay, that's what alternating current does. All right, you got to have both of them so that it expands. And it creates a little shock wave out there. That's where we get the liquid plasma effect, okay? Because all these little shock waves are pushing out around you. We have to put a variable switch in there, okay? The only ones that I've seen so far that have been worthy in my mind are AC, okay? Like the ones you put on your wall to dim your switch up and down, okay? They're the ones with the most variable. But you can still use it for DC.
Well, your wall heater switches, not your rheostats, the ones that are just the sensors, all they are is a spark gap.
Yeah.
And it's a bimetal contact that it gets to a certain temperature and either kicks on or kicks off. It's just the properties of the two metals against each other.
Yeah,
you want it to be colder. The room you run the bimetals a little bit further away, so they have to bend further to make contact, and then they don't turn on as often. You bring them closer, they turn on and off there. So it's basically a simple spark gap. It's an on-off switch.
Right.
Now, more than a spark gap. The reason we use a spark gap is to set up the direction of current. It's very similar to a diode in that a spark gap keeps your flow, your electron flow going the same direction. What we found when we were doing the Tesla coils back in 2000 was we called it radio frequency, and we were getting a breakdown. We'd ping it, and then it would fluctuate. It would ratchet down to nothing until it diminished. Now, we now know that that's a collapsing plasma field. What we did to rectify that, to make it so, not to use that word, to stop that from happening, was we just set a capacitor at one end on a single terminal, and then that acted as a storage unit. And that RF went in there and was stored, so that the next time we pinged the Tesla coil, it was ready at full power to jump the spark gap with anything we put in. There wasn't any noise in the line, in other words, because we were looking for a pure tone. That's what your spark gap does, is keeps it going the right direction on a simple form.
Okay? It also converts it.
Yeah.
It converts it from matter to plasma.
Exactly.
And then back to matter again. That's the conversion point, okay? one thing that we should probably note, because it just popped back into my brain, back when I had my little plasma ball, okay, I took it looked like a lava lamp. It was the shape of a lava lamp, all right, but it was a plasma. Still had the lightning bolts inside. I took a coil that was insulated, okay, and I wrapped it as just regular copper wire. I think it was the house wire, house size 12 gauge or, whatever. And I put a coil around the top of it, and I brought the wire off, okay, so there was a little tongue, wire. And then I used that energy to create ozone.
Right.
Okay, because it was creating such a small spark. All right, I just had a piece of copper tape sitting on like a piece of cardboard or something to let them touch, and I let it arc. Well, I had the radio on, and every time it would arc, it would shut my radio off. So it's blocking the radio signals. Okay.
Yeah, you're putting out what's white noise. It's like a lightning strike.
Or shielding. You can look at it as shielding too.
It is shielding.
Yeah.
That's what's coming to mind right now. Is if with your expertise and capacitors and the electronic side of things, you can literally, if you can replicate the frequency, because the plasma balls are 12 volt DC. Okay. It's already DC current. We just use the AC, and then as soon as it comes to the wall, it converts it to DC. Everything in our house, are all DC.
Yeah, they don't realize it's pulsing DC.
Yeah,
it's
pulsing
yeah.
DC. But we can create a little personal device, okay, a little push button device. If we can take that frequency from the 12-volt plasma ball, okay, that arc, it literally doesn't take much. If it's 12 volts, you can do that with, the little watch batteries.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't have to be plasmatic, but it can be an energy field that, if you add GANs to it, right, in some way, somewhere in that circuit, you get to program that GANs to whatever frequency you want.
Can I ask you a question, Mike?
Joe, I was going to say, Joe, would you pick up your device that you bought?
Let me see. I have another one out here. Wait a minute. That one's inside. Wait. I have different. I told you. Oh no, I had it. This is before I got in plasma. I was making jewel ringers, jewel thieves, jewel ringers. You call them. Well, these are a little more. They're simple.
Yeah.
It's just one transistor and then a diode. But what I have wire wrapped inside, and what happens when it gets it sends it to a hyperloop, so it takes DC and tricks it as AC. It's plasma. That's really what it is. If you really analyze it, and it makes an AC bulb think it's AC, and it turns on. What do you think?
No, what I was asking for was your taser.
That's inside. Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. It's a spark gap. It's just a Tesla coil rolled up, and it's amplified with a small thing. Now, I have a question for you, Mike. I watched a lot of the educational videos, and I never seen 50 till the other day, which was a coincidence for me to get because it was the time for it. And they took your design, and they made that small generator.
Yeah.
I never seen that before. Now, from what I understand, that's a pretty good start there for an energy-based platform, no?
Yeah. Everything that I teach is the very basics. Okay. It's a ground floor. It's like, putting a new house out. I'm putting gravel.
Yeah,
big X.
You're giving us a pile of wood and go, look, you can make this with it. You can make a table, chair, or dresser. It's up to you what you make with it. I understand that.
The crayons. That's what I feel like I'm giving people is their crayons to be creative.
Yeah, but the problem is that we only get, with the teachers that we see, we only get bits of the information. You don't get everything. You don't get enough where it can push you where you can understand a little more.
Well, that's because people aren't asking the right questions. All right. They're just waiting for us to give the answers. Like Mr. Keshe, he can't make a single device, just like I can't make a single device.
No, we all part of the puzzle. We figured that out. I understand that.
Yeah.
That's why we're going to, like Fraz would tell you, we all communicate like this. We all been sharing. Everything he gives me, I share with everybody else.
Yeah.
And we're all sharing back and forth, and this is how we're getting along with this and understanding this.
Yeah, and I don't have any hard feelings towards Keshe. I never have. You know, I just step out of the ring because I don't want to be part of his fiasco, you know, that he's created for himself.
I understand all that. Believe me, I've been involved with stuff like this. You know, you either can advance everybody or you can hold everybody back. It's how you play your hand.
He's not holding anybody back, but he can only go as fast as the slowest human.
I understand that too.
And, you know, we're all on a timeline. And if you guys haven't had your dreams yet, you're probably.
Oh, I have. Oh, no, we know. That's why we all been talking about this. We're already, you know, we're here to serve. I understand.
The finish line for the suffering, because you're going to wake up and know some shit. And, you know, a lot of people, it's just clicking, you know, like you said, workshop 50, you know.
Yeah.
Keshe is giving out all the information. He just doesn't know what order he's giving it in, you know.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, and the deal is when you're broadcasting to so many people, you only pick up what you're ready for, and so he doesn't know who's ready.
Yes. I watched teachers and I didn't understand one thing, and I go back. I'm like, okay, I got that. Oh, I understand that. Oh, yes. Yeah. And I'm like, where was I at when I was watching this? Where was my head at? I didn't understand any of this. Now I understand it all, which I understand that. Oh well, that's redundant.
I feel that very soon, I will be re-entering the Keshe scene. Okay. Because they'll be up to the same emotional level. All right. The way it works for me as far as who I'm able to teach, okay, they have to be at a certain frequency in order to even understand my words, okay, which means that they have to have their emotions and their ego in check and all of that stuff, you know, and whatever else. When I released Infinity a couple of years ago, my intent was very clear that it could not be used to harm anybody, and karma was a bitch, period. You know, that's the guardian of the light, you know, what we call karma.
I wear the infinity mark.
I'm about to get right here over my my left chest pec muscle and down my arm. I'm going to get this all done with my infinity and my drawings that I've got. It will be on my body. Everything I love is on my body, so you know I want to keep it there.
I usually take everything I love with me. No.
Yeah.
Can you see what I've got sharing here?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't see the bottom part of it though.
You should be able to expand it. If you expand it and then raise it up and down, you should be able to move it on your screen. I'm going to go real quick through this. The top left hand is your standard maggrav coils in quick form, in quick notation. The CH3 is your ferrite core, which goes into which is basically your infinity loop on the right hand side, Mike.
Yep.
We go into the next one, which is down with it's got the golden arrows going up and around and down in the toroid. What I've done is just put a rod through the maggrav system to illustrate the electromagnet principle of the fields and the toroid that is formed that way. You go to the right-hand side, you have your infinity loop, which is that side of the drawing, and you have your ferric coils ferric rods on the outside of it. It sets up an infinity loop similar. But you go down a little bit further and you see, Mike, your actual infinity loop in a person's hand. There is no difference but technically speaking, there's a huge difference. But yes, technically speaking, the ferrite core of the jewel ringer circuits, which is what we're showing here, is mimicked when you take and put your hand around your infinity coil. Okay? It's using the iron portions of your blood and the fields of it. And that's the basis of the interaction of the fields. And your key is right now the iron in your blood or in your cores. This is your inner sun, you might say. Okay, I'm going to quit sharing.
Very good. That is awesome. I love the correlation, the iron in the blood. Just remember, Okay. Iron is a taker, and we're going to be removing the iron from our blood. Okay. It'll slowly dwindle out as we stop eating meat. All right. And more of these pesticides and all of the crap that attracts aluminum to our bodies. All right. Because it's the extra aluminum that's attracting and keeping the iron really high in our blood. All right. That's why we feel tired. All right. But I love your drawings. I love the way that's set up there. Have you considered using solder? Big gauge solder. This one is lead free. For silver bearing solder, diameter 0.125. Okay. We were talking about bimetal, tri-metal, multiple metal.
There should be a lot of zinc in that.
There is a lot of zinc in this, and it's got the silver. Okay.
Okay.
So it just popped out in my head when I was going through my shed. I was looking for my wire. This one came out. Seems important, so I'm sharing it. Take it for what it is. All right. Mm-hmm. I'll be practicing some things on this. I want to see what caustic does to this particular wire before I turn it into any kind of loop or whatever. I want to see if it's going to dissolve it or whatnot.
Thing you have to remember is because when you first said it, I went, "Oh, you're going to lead." Your lead and your lead GANs basically is your artificial ground. Okay, you have your earth ground and you have your artificial grounds. When we get into our circuitry, part of the keeping things tossed in the plasma field is having an artificial ground for it to go to with the excess, because you want to keep the toroid going, and one of the ways of doing that is to have it go to a artificial ground.
Right.
That's what your car battery does for you. That's what your car battery does for you. That's what your GANs bottles do if you're not connected to AC. That's your AC with a grounded plug goes to your physical ground, but in your household, your AC current contaminates the ground field. It's a pulse still, because your negative wire is still running in the same line. So you're going to have a field interaction that you really don't want. So if you want to use, either you separate from the power grid and use the house ground there, or you set up a separate earth ground into your house and use it with your plasma systems.
Right. Well, the idea with the cars, okay, with the house, if you don't want your house to fly away, then connect it to the ground. Okay?
Exactly.
That's pretty much what it's going to boil down to. Your car is going to fly away because you have the artificial ground, which means that you're going to have a positive circuit inside of the vehicle and the positive circuit of the air around the vehicle, okay, that's going to complete it on plasmatic side to ground. So you have two positives and a negative, okay? The negative is the earth, and the two positives are the vehicle, okay, and the air, all right? And then the negative is the lead in the battery and whatnot. So now you have a gravitational core. You see how that's going to work? It's like putting caustic in the center of your reactors, okay? So that's so beautiful.
I just had to throw this up on the screen for you.
We're all connected. I'm loving this.
So you see, this is the car unit, and it has your GAN center in it. Basically your iron GANs, CH3. We have your plasma field is the same field is in your hand. That's your blood thing. When you put your hand over the top of it, you're going to affect the entire unit underneath it because of the attraction. And because you're using a artificial ground, this will negate your planet Earth gravitational force, apparently, from what I understand.
A nano-coated wire, okay, infinity, anything nano-coated is also a ground, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking
because
make the undercoil. I think I'm supposed to show you how to do it on a little bit larger scale. All right, because these are going to be our new capacitors to try out. You guys are the only two people here. All right, we've been online for an hour, and it's you guys are the only two here, which means you guys are the two that get to test this if you want to. Okay. One thing I wanted to kind of point out that the universe brought to me this last weekend. We went to a flea market up there in near Alvarado, Fort Worth. Okay. 2 different tables, different sides, different areas. We were getting ready to leave, and both of these items stuck out. Okay. This is just a lead crystal, like little container. Okay. It opens up. Okay.
It's a jewelry box.
Yeah, it's like a little jewelry box or maybe a mint or something like that. Okay. That was on one table. That was like $3. Lead crystal. And this one showed up on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one is also lead crystal. And it opens up. All right. First thing that came to mind was go buy the lead crystal. Go buy the lead crystal. This was $8. Okay, this thing right here. If I was to buy this brand new somewhere, okay, you know how much it would cost, right?
Yeah, $8.
All right. Just so happens, same shapes. Okay, egg shape.
There's a joke what you just showed. Raj, you got the copy of the thing I sent you?
Now,
the Schellberger egg with the motion, with the gravitational spin and everything, it's spinning inside itself by nature itself. Show Mike that if you can put it up. Can you put it up?
Let me see what I'll have to go.
Let me finish here. This is the thing that was sent to me with images. Okay. You got your clam. All right. We're going to put the pearl inside of there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it showed me. All right. What happens when you put the pearl inside of a clam? How does it start to work?
Yeah, it rotates it. Yeah, it rotates and adds layers.
It adds.
Yeah, it's very similar to a capacitor.
Okay.
You know, it's multi layers to insulate take the irritation away from the clam.
That's right. It's an immune system response.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're giving it a cold, basically, when they put a grain of sand in there and it's trying to get rid of it. Okay. And it covers it up to what's going to make it, right. That's where we get the pearlesque stuff. All right.
Right.
Now, lead has its own qualities, right?
Uh-huh.
Now it's mixed with crystal.
Yeah, silica and lead.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're blending the silica and the lead together, so we have the qualities, the merged qualities of lead and the silica. Okay.
Right.
So they're blended together. That's 2 field interactions. That creates a layered bubble which holds your energy inside of it. Okay, so this is a protective shield for this one, which is also its own protective shield. Okay, so basically they're already nano-coated. Now, the idea that's coming to mind for this is I'm going to spray Never Wet on this. All right, and I'm not going to allow water to touch the surface of this crystal. All right.
That's a nano coat, ain't it? That never wet.
It most certainly is. It is the opposite of water. It repels water, absolutely. And there is at least a 16th, if not, an eighth of an inch gap where the water is. Okay? I've played with it and I've done those kinds of things. So now if I've got a complete nano-coated outside, okay, which is the crystal itself, all right? Then I add another layer that repels water, okay? It's going to put that field on here. This water is going to be free suspended inside of it, okay? Even if and I'm going to spray this one, so it will also repel water. All right, so can you see I'm going to form the toroidal field or half of the toroidal field in this container.
Yeah, you should be able
Yes.
to at least get a slight lift inside because of the water interaction with you.
It should push that this container up and make it free. Okay. Well, this just happens to fit perfect in here to where it can spin by itself if it so chooses. Okay. So the images in my mind are that this is going to float and spin like a compass. Okay. Jack Sparrow's compass comes to mind.
You should be able to. You should be able to run a coil around the outside of that.
This one.
Just ping it. It doesn't have to be anything great. It's just a spool of wire
around this.
Yeah, around your whole unit, and just give it a tap.
You talking this way or this way?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Your taser?
Because you're setting up your electromagnetic toroids around your plasma field separated toroid in the inside, and so you're activating from the outside to the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, I also might be able to seal this with hot glue enough to where I could put it, like this and fill this container completely up and remove the air.
Yeah, you may want to do that if you can. It's going to take a little bit of thought. You may have to leave a tube through the steam enough to get it like a hypodermic needle or something through it to seal it, and then when it's full, I would say a rubber tube, and with a hypodermic needle in it when you seal it, and then you add your fluid through it. It's a peak valve, P-E-E-K, I think it's called, is what you're creating. And then when you pull your needle out, the rubber seals itself. It just closes behind it. It's just a small tube. And you can probably do it with a piece of insulation, like off of 14 gauge or 16 gauge wire, and just that rubberized one, and just leave it into the gap where it comes together with your syringe in it, and then do your sealing, then do your fill. You'll have to put it in, take out the air, put it in with fluid, take out the air, put in the fluid, take out the air, and you should be able to then, after it's full and you got the air bubbles out, because you want to get those air bubbles out,
right, pull
your syringe out, and then a little piece of hot glue over it, and you're done.
All right. The other thing while you were talking and describing that, okay, it just came to mind. Those, I think I talked about it last time, the vacuum Tupperware food saver things that they have. I just moved the package today that I bought, and I think that I have a container that this would fit perfectly in. Okay. So now I'm thinking here, if I can even put another core inside of that crystal, the smaller one, okay, of some sort. I'm looking at all the layers in my mind. I can see the massive toroidal fields emanating.
Yeah. You could put a CH3 type GANs on the inside ball, on the inside of that, real tiny. Yeah.
It's here at the meeting.
Yeah. Let's say just go right in there.
Yeah, that vacuum condition is, man.
Yeah, we're running across that in several different places around the world. The importance of setting up micro vacuum spaces, and they're doing it with the fiberglass. They're doing it with the rosin. You've talked about it. It has its place. It really does. It's just a matter of working out the details. I mean, it's in the consciousness around the planet right now that the vacuum. It's either the thing is you have to realize you've got expansion forces and you have compression forces. You have your magneticals going out, and you have your gravitationals coming in. And if you have if you're thinking about it, which direction that you're going, then your vacuum comes into play, and you go, oh yes,
yeah.
Okay. What part of the equation are you in?
The vacuum, we're at the point now where we can talk about the vacuum as far as consciousness is concerned. That's what is coming to me. Okay? We're at a level of understanding that now that we have everything in place from where we're at the finish line. Okay? Or we've already crossed the finish line. This is the recurring dream over the last couple of days. Okay? The finish line of suffering, and it's time to move forward. Okay? The railroad tracks have been cleared off, and we are clear to go to the finish line and get off this fucking roller coaster and start being in control of our own planet again. The turmoil that we're having on the planet has to happen. This is the emotional upset, the emotional trigger that is required for the Mercury switch to flip in people's minds. They have to have PTSD. Okay? They have to be scared. They have to act or feel like they just stepped off a curb and the damn bus passed right in front of them. They got to feel that panic. Okay?
If they don't have fear, they won't change. That's the only thing that makes people change.
Right now, there is no fear. They're lackadaisical. Okay? And most people are just sitting back going, all right, well, that's not near me, so that really doesn't bother me. That's like, a whole different country on the,
You know the expression, warm, fat, healthy, and not hungry. So
That's right. So, our job here is just to hold the space. Okay. I think this small group here, we're going to start advancing the plasma stuff. When we get some more test results, we'll make a video of our test results. Okay. The combined efforts, so that they don't have to watch 80 hours of us yakking about it. Okay. And trying to figure it out. And we can just put together the little results that we've been coming up with. So what you got here?
This is sideways, unfortunately, and this is currently how the 3D world works for 90% of the people. We're sitting on the planet Earth, which is supposed to be down. It's on your left-hand side. Mm-hmm. Your toroids, each of your GANs balls, let's say in your starship formation, have a gravitational component to them. And the large pink arrows show the gravitational forces in there, the net effect. They basically come off at the top, which would be your right-hand side, as a magnetic, convert into a gravitational, and settle at the bottom. The Earth holds it in place so nothing flies off. I'm going to stop sharing that one. Mm-hmm. Think about that for a moment. I am going to come with the next drawing, but that's something to ponder.
Hey, if you pull that one back up, something for, I think, to add a little bit more consistency for when we're like explaining and teaching, okay? Your toroidal fields, okay? You have to complete the circuit, okay? So you got to have the X in the center and show where the crossover is of the energy, okay? Because every time...
Can you draw on the screen on that one? You should be able to hit the draw button and add that to that just for...
Where? Options...
Should be a pen. It should be on the left-hand side of your screen, a little blue circle with a pen in it.
No.
Okay. I'll draw real quick.
Where?
Do you mean right there? I've got it in red. That X there?
Yeah.
Is that the spot you want?
Yeah, now right at the bottom right there, you have that little pink and yellow one. Okay.
Let me change it. That area right there?
Okay. You have, the way I'm seeing this right here is it looks like you have two toroidal fields. Okay.
Right.
All right. It's really one toroidal field. It's a circle that's twisted in half. All right. And so I'm trying to get you to depict
it's an infinity loop.
Yes, the twist.
Yeah, well, the interaction, of course, is because it's at the big toroidal. You twist it. You have
it's
that
automatic.
shape. Yeah.
Now you have that part right. Okay, but on the smaller one, okay, remember, as above, so below. Okay. Mm-hmm. On the smaller one, use your yellow lines, all right, and just connect the 8 together, okay? You have the top, the sideways on the screen for me. Okay.
Yeah.
You have the top and the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Just connect them with the 8. Okay. The 8 center, the crossover, should be in the very center of this triangle, 3D triangle you have. Okay. That's the
okay.
That's
One
the
second.
sweet spot. That's where the magic happens. Okay. You know the magic happens at the sweet spot, so that's where your X is going to be. Okay. Every time a wire crosses itself in infinity, okay, the physical wire, you're creating that sweet spot no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like that now?
Well, use your big yellow, the big yellow ones. Okay.
Okay.
You can encompass the entire design.
Oh, wrong color. Erase.
I wish I could get this stupid thing to pen.
Yeah, I'm saying. Yeah, as I said.
It's funny. I just looked at a new computer this morning for out here. Something I can actually work with.
Because we have a toroid forming on the Earth like so. That's erase. On the Earth one, there's a toroid like that. On the MagGrav units, you have toroids that set up. They're actually three-dimensional, of course. And then you have the interaction like that, because you, okay, is that right?
Yes. You've just drawn 2 neutrinos that come together.
Yeah.
Okay. The magic happens in the middle between those 2 neutrinos. That creates a hydrogen energy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So just a visualization that you've created there, but I don't see it that way. I don't see it sideways like this.
No, it's supposed to be the other way. It's turned 90 degrees. It's laying on its side because my camera flipped it.
All right. Yeah, the way it's looking on the screen right now, you have the over and under. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The over under is correct, but you got to flip the picture.
Yes. The picture screws things up.
Yeah,
I can
when you
work on
flip
that.
the picture over, it the energy fields are top and bottom, and you're doing it right.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
You're just gonna see the structure here. Let me see. Good. Stop screen sharing for a minute. Let me see if I can recreate this a little bit easier, and I'll show you the fractal side.
Okay.
How the hell do I do that again? What the? Where is my options for that?
Well, let me. While you're looking for that, let me flip one more up just to confuse the heck out. Oops.
All right, put it up.
I have one more drawing.
There it is. Okay. Go ahead.
You got it? I won't share then.
All right. It's the big green button. It says screen share on it.
Yeah.
All right.
There you are.
Oh, come on. Let's see what we can do here. I'm using my mouse or my fingertip here.
Okay.
All right. Remember, red is always ground for me, negative.
Okay.
We're going to call this one your ground level, okay? Earth underneath.
Giant iron sphere. Okay.
Yeah. Big ass rock. Okay.
Big ass rock.
Then you had, what was it that you had? You had the 3.
I put in the star formation is all.
Okay. So yeah, those not squares.
It's okay. It could be, but it'll all work.
All right. Now, let's see. This is going to be the energy fields lines. All right, we're going to connect these together just to get the shape here for you.
Okay.
All right. Can you visualize this now?
Yep. Now on your infinities, remember if you start adding in all your infinity interactions, each of those spheres in the blue have an infinity loop to them.
That's
correct.
Right. If
And then the whole unit has a field in itself. It's a field with fields inside it.
That's correct, and I'll take that here. If you
I'm gonna let you do that. I gotta make a quick trip. I'll be right back.
Hey, let's take a 10-minute break because I'd really like a cigarette.
Okay, good. You can smoke. You get my permission. Are you old enough to smoke?
No, I'm not. Not on video. When we come back, we'll start recording. I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording.
All right, because I got to wait time. I'm trying to get this cleaned up in here too. It's all like tore it apart.
All right. All right. There we go. We're going to stop the recording.